So a lesson from Mr. Stone. Next, let's head to Spain. Common dreams. Spain to experiment with 4-day work week, an idea whose time has come. I like this a lot more than, well, I'm for guaranteed income, guaranteed job. But besides having a guaranteed job, we need to ask what those jobs should really be. In an economy where 40% roughly of people do not feel their job has any actual social value, bullshit jobs, maybe we should think about cutting back on the amount of labor hours that actually need to be done in order to earn a living, to buy things, to keep the GDP rolling. Considering that so much is thrown out just to keep GDP numbers up, like, say, a company, they get to write off part taxes when they buy things, and then they get to write off on their taxes when they throw shit out, the value of it. So throwing lots of shit out is incentivized by our tax system and the economics involved. Capitalist economics. One leading advocate says Spain will be the first country to undertake a trial of this magnitude. This is really cool. And this is this year that they're starting this. So as coronavirus pandemic changes the way societies around the world view work, hopefully we are reviewing what we mean by work. Spain has announced that it will begin a limited trial of a 4-day work week in a bid to boost productivity, mental health, and the environment. Duh. Less carbon emissions from that fossil fuels used. The Guardian reports that Enrico Riegon and Mia Pass, the small left-wing party whose proposal for the trial workweek reduction was accepted by the government last month, kudos on them for doing that, called the experiment an idea whose time has come, the real debate of our times. They noted that Spain is one of the countries where workers put in more hours than the European average, but are not among the most productive. Maybe so siestas. The exact details of the pilot program, though, which could be implemented as soon as this autumn, haven't been finalized yet. Here's how they're going to do it. It's proposed for 3 years, 50 million euros. That's about $60 million. Trial run would mitigate risk to employers by having the government cover all of the costs for doing this. Half the costs in the second year and a third of the costs in the third year. Employers would work a 32-hour per week with no reduction in pay. So it's like the 50 million is while they start cutting hours, but not cutting salaries, with the assumption that productivity would increase. Why is this assumed? Because there's a good amount of evidence that that's what would happen. With these figures, we calculate that we could have around 200 companies participate. So it's of course not over a broad area, but they know it's 50 million, or it's kept to 50 million euros, because they're going to have a trial number of companies do this, not like picking a state at random. So it's a number of companies, 200 companies, about 6,000 workers over the country, across the country. The only red lines are that we want to see a true reduction of working hours and no loss of salary or jobs. With figures, with these figures, we calculate that we could have around 200 companies participate. I just read that. Spain will be the first country to undertake a trial of this magnitude. Spain is set to test 4-day work week, blah blah. Indeed, while other countries, most notably Finland and New Zealand, have explored a work week reduction, and while France adopted a 35-hour work week in 2000, they've already gone down from 40. It's just 5 hours less, but that's, yeah. Um, Sarah noted that a pilot project like this hasn't been undertaken anywhere else. Individual employers may be going down the third too. Individual employers, including Greenpeace Canada, have also experimented with a 4-day work week with full pay during the pandemic. Living their values. They should have done. It's the best, wrote Greenpeace Canada Executive Director Christy Ferguson of the new policy. Our work is stronger than ever. Our staff feel more valued. They're healthier, more energized, more creative. They don't feel so much like succeeding at work and being happy and successful at home or in constant unresolvable tension. Because they're working 4 days, so that's 3 days off. Or if it's like you cut an hour or so from your work day, that's another hour to pick up the kids. Or more time is just better. Do everything. More cushions. It's good to have cushion when you're doing stuff. Flexibility it affords has allowed more parents to keep working through the pandemic. And as an organization, it feels like we're doing a better job of living our values by working to create a different world. Blah, blah, as Greenpeace is. In Spain, the Yan-based company Software Desol last year moved to a 4-day work week, one company, but their CEO told El País that implementing the policy has not been easy, largely because there has been no reference point and legislation. So it helps to have a guide, blueprint, and to have a little bit of money from the state to offset some of the inefficiencies that happen along the way. But a satisfied employee means a satisfied customer. Oh, wow, it isn't just the customer first. Amazing.